I still remember the sound of the front door slamming behind me, the click of the lock, the silence afterward. It was my parents' silence that cut the deepest. I was 16, trembling on the porch, clutching a plastic grocery bag with everything I could grab in 30 seconds. My father's words still burned in my ears. "You are no daughter of mine." My mother didn't even look at me. She stood with her arms crossed, lips pressed thin, as if I were a stain she could scrub from her life. They disowned me the night I told them I was pregnant. I slept in a bus station bathroom that night, my cheek pressed to the cold tile floor, one hand resting on my stomach. That was the first time I whispered to him. I told my unborn son we'd survive, that we didn't need them, that they would regret this. I was right. Years blurred into survival. I worked jobs no one else wanted, lived in places most people wouldn't step foot in. But every diaper, every night class, every double shift carved steel into my spine. I didn't break. I built. And my son, my reason, he grew into the kind of man I wish my parents could have been. Brilliant, disciplined, loyal. He wasn't just my son. He was my partner in the empire I built from the ashes. Because survival turned into something else, success. By the time I turned 30, I wasn't just making ends meet. I was signing checks with numbers my parents couldn't dream of. I didn't just build a life, I built a fortress. I hadn't heard from them in 2 decades. Not a letter, not a call, not even a whisper in the small town where they still rotted in their quiet, bitter lives. Until last week. They showed up at my office. I'll never forget the look on my receptionist's face when she knocked on my door. Nervous, unsure. She whispered their names like a secret too dangerous to say aloud. I told her to let them in. And then, after 20 years, my parents walked into my office, into my kingdom. My father's hair was gray now, his posture slouched. My mother's eyes darted around, taking in the high ceilings, the glass walls, the portraits of my son's achievements hanging in gold frames. They didn't look at me at first. They looked at the evidence of what I'd become. Only then did they dare meet my eyes. "We want to meet him," my father said, voice rough. "Our grandson." The audacity almost made me laugh. Almost. But I didn't laugh. I leaned back in my chair, steepled my fingers, and studied them the way you study insects caught in a jar. "Now you want to meet him?" I asked. My mother swallowed. "We made a mistake. You thought I'd fail." My voice cut through her excuses like a blade. "You thought I'd crawl back. You wanted me to suffer so your reputation stayed clean." Neither of them argued, because the truth sat between us, undeniable. I let the silence stretch until they shifted in their seats. Until they squirmed the way I once did on that porch, locked out, unwanted. Then I pressed the button on my desk phone. "Send him in," I said. The door opened. My son stepped inside. He was not the boy they imagined, not the shameful secret they abandoned. He was a man in a tailored suit, tall, commanding, eyes sharp with the same fire that carried me through those years alone. He didn't even look at them. He looked at me, waiting. "This is your grandson," I said finally. My parents' faces softened with something that disgusted me, greed disguised as affection. They saw his success before they saw him. "Hello," my son said, voice steady, polite, but cold. "I've heard about you." My father smiled, fragile. "We've missed so much time." My son cut him off. "No, you gave it away. Time was never stolen from you, you abandoned it." My mother's lip trembled, but there were no tears. People like her didn't cry for others, only themselves. I watched them try to claw back what they'd thrown away,
beg with their eyes, pretend they had a right to anything in this room. And I decided it was time. "Security," I said calmly into the phone. 2 guards appeared. My parents froze. I rose from my chair, walked around the desk, and stood before them. For the first time, I was taller than my father, stronger than both of them. "You disowned me 20 years ago," I said, my voice low but sharp. "That decision is permanent. You don't get to unmake it now." My son stepped closer, standing beside me. Unshakable. "This empire," I said, sweeping a hand to the walls around us, "was built on the foundation of your rejection. Every brick, every dollar, every victory is stamped with your absence. You are nothing but ghosts here." The guards moved forward. My parents' faces shifted from pleading to panic. "Wait, please," my mother stammered. But I turned my back to them before they finished. The last thing they saw was my son's face, calm, resolute, untouched by their desperation. And then the doors closed behind them.